Hello friends, welcome to UPSC AKHADA. After question 1 of paper 2, now let's discuss the another 10 marker question, that is question 5. So starting with question 5a. Explain the factors affecting the work motivation within the work organization of India. So first, the theme is quite simple: work motivation from work psychology chapter. But in this question, you require the kind of synthesis or assimilation of knowledge. What are the, before going to explain this answer, let me tell you some pitfalls when we commit in these kind of answer. First is we restrict our content to work psychology only. We should diversify it, but we don't. Second, we discount the hygiene factors of answers. Hygiene factors, I could say, the structuring part, the presentation, because we see it's an easy question. Content is readily available in our memory. We just simply write down one, two, three, four, five different, six, seven different points, and here the answer is finish. So fine, but to get above average or good marks, we should put some one or two interventions which I discuss in this answer. Let's start. So here I defined motivation. What is motivation? It gives the intensity, direction, and persistence to the efforts on attaining the goals. So you can also give some context with that, why it is important or something else. But usually we are so stressed in the paper situation, we have a tunnel vision. So writing a definition is a safe exit. And then coming to the body part, here what I told, some extra efforts to gain some good marks. The extra efforts are dividing the body part in subheadings, because it is there are asking for factors affecting work motivation. So कुछ factors individual भी होंगे, कुछ group factors भी होंगे, कुछ जो उसका उस कंपनी या उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का वर्क कल्चर है वो भी होंगे. So these are very logical. So why don't we write them? For example, the individual factors. There's a high dependency motivation case of India, as told by Parekh, कि उस वजह से मतलब motivation कम होता है. We have lots of interdependence to take initiatives. Then community self-orientation is there. We have a high need for relatedness. So जो ऑफिसेज में गैंग कल्चर होता है कि एक चार पांच लोगों का गैंग आता है, वो ना खुद काम करता है ना करने देता है. दिस इज द वन ऑफ द रीजंस. एंड लॉक एंड लेथम का जो कंसेप्ट है गोल ओरिएंटेशन का, गोल सेटिंग का, तो उसमें there are two aspects. One is mastery goal orientation and one is performance. So because we have a community self, we are more oriented towards performance goal orientation कि यार मुझे उससे बढ़ गया करना है, ना कि उस टास्क को मास्टर करना है. So ये तीन एस्पेक्ट्स हैं जो हमारे मोटिवेशन को इम्पैक्ट करते हैं. सेकंड, ग्रुप में क्या है? वी हैव हाई नेपोटिज्म इन आवर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सेटिंग्स. जो इक्विटी थ्योरी एडम्स की ये टॉक्स अबाउट कि हम वी आर नॉट able to equate the rewards or equate our efforts properly कि यार मैंने इतने एफर्ट किए, मुझे इतना रिवॉर्ड तो मिलना चाहिए. दिस इज अ कॉमन ह्यूमन साइकोलॉजी. बट due to nepotism, due to favoritism, we used to favor as per our emotions to our near and dear ones, to our kids and kins, not the merit. So here equity theory tells how a group behavior, or you can say analysis of one's efforts in a group, allows to work more or work less. Then social loafing versus social facilitation. कुछ ग्रुप्स में जहाँ पर इंटरडिपेंडेंस जिक्सॉ पजल टाइप होती है, तो वी फैसिलिटेट ईच अदर्स एफर्ट. बट इन नंबर ऑफ केसेस देयर आर फ्री राइडर्स जो कुछ नहीं करते. सो ये भी मोटिवेशन कम करते हैं औरों का, बिकॉज द पीपल हु आर वर्किंग उन पे प्रेशर बहुत आता है और उनका भी मोटिवेशन कम हो जाता है कि जब वो ही नहीं कर रहे तो व्हाई डू आई। देन द leadership style is there, democratic versus authoritative. It is quite one way and it is totally freelancing type. So in case of India, it should be somewhere in between. Work culture, like in bureaucratic, there is a very low job control because it's a hierarchical body. Job satisfaction is less. So these are the issues in work culture. Hygiene factors, like Hasberg theory. So salary is a determining factor in the job satisfaction case of India. So we should consider that also. And Vroom's reward management is there, ki how much we expect, and the instrumentality of awards also determine the work motivation. So in conclusion, we there are a lot of conclusion. In my case, I thought ki nurture and task leadership suggested by Senna in Indian organization can motivate the staff and give better outcomes. So this is the question 5A. Now coming to question 5B. What are the consequences of being a member of disadvantaged group? Simple, direct question. But again, it demands proper presentation. So here we should explain ये disadvantaged group होते क्या है, कि जो जो हाई रिस्क पे होते हैं, पॉवर्टी होती है, एक्सक्लूजन होता है, डिस्क्रिमिनेशन होता है, इवन वायलेंस जैसे थ्रेट्स होते हैं। तो वो फॉर एग्जांपल एथनिक माइनॉरिटी, ट्राइबल्स, दलित, पीडब्ल्यूडी, आइसोलेटेड ओल्ड एज पीपल, चिल्ड्रन, इवन वुमेन आल्सो, because you can say domestic violence का threat उन पे हमेशा होता है. In COVID-19, people says कि domestic violence is another pandemic. So we can include women also in this disadvantaged group. So there is directly asking the consequences. So coming to the consequences. So it's being a psychology answer. We should start with psychology consequence. So prioritizing of points is essential. So we should learn from this question. Like we should prioritize as per the demand. Or like if there are five different points, there's a main point, so you should emphasize more on it, and you should also give the subparts. For example, cognitive and perceptual correlates of psychological consequences, कि IQ is present but realize नहीं होती है. एग्जाम्पल क्या है इसका, अनास्ताशी की फोस्टर होम स्टडी है जो इस बात को प्रूव करती है. दिस इज योर असर्शन एंड यू रीजन विद एज रिसर्च. Poor meta memory because they don't have the parents who motivate them to recall what they studied in the school. So they're not able to develop the tools and tricks of memory, how to utilize it properly. There's a faulty attribution. If we get they get succeeded, it is because of luck. If they get failed, it's because of self. So negative self concept ho jata hai. This as suggested by JB Pisana. Now personality correlates. There's a free floating anxiety because of the environment around. There's a fear. There's a low self esteem. Negative self concept because of the internalized apathy. Nobody loves them. They are, you can say, trash of the society, so called trash of the society. So they have a, you can say, ingrained a negative self concept. There's a vicious cycle because of that environment. Like low self efficacy, no positive reinforcement. So diagram का scope था तो बना दिया and it will give you definitely +1. Then when we don't have low self efficacy, no positive reinforcement, तो external locus of control हो जाता है. We are not in the driving seat, we perceive in this manner. फिर उससे एक फ्री फ्लोटिंग एंजाइटी सी रहती है एंड वी कीप ऑन फेलिंग, और फेल होने से हमारी सेल्फ एफिकेसी कम रहती है. तो नोट इन केस ऑफ दिस डायग्राम is eclectic. You can use it in number of for like disadvantage, in gender, in disability, learning disabled. Wherever there is a kind of issue, minorities, wherever there is issue, you can use it in psychology. It's a good diagram. Then motivation correlates. Subpart 3 of psychological consequences, high dependency motivation, as suggested by Parekh. You can also name the name of psychologist. The attributes are like here I mentioned the name of psychologist. Excessive fear of failure, overconformity, favor seeking attitude कि यार मेरी help कर दे because I can't do it my own. Aggressive rejection of authorities. Due to this, these are prone to violent behavior. Then jail terms are there. So they are struck in this kind of negative behaviors and penalties in their lifetimes. Then avoidance syndrome, they don't accept reality and stay in illusions. And also, if the situation further aggravated, their delusional disorders also and other psychic disorders, excessive failure, fear of failure. So due to this, there is an issue. So no drive for excellence. They seek continuous approval from others, immediate gratification, no delayed gratification कि यार आज कमाया आज ही उड़ाया. अनरियलिस्टिक गोल सेटिंग होती है. सेल्फ फिर उससे क्या होता है कि सेल्फ इम्पोज फेलियर एंड द लो levels of aspirations are there. After that, the second important is socio-cultural consequences because still there is psychology in this aspect. Gregariousness tendency due to his tunnel vision is there, parochial mindset, fatalistic attitude हो जाता है, psychology of puppet, culture of poverty, cultural boundedness is there because they're quite strict to normative behavior. So theory of reasoned action जो है उसमें normative aspect बहुत dominate करता है. Economic consequences, these are the generic points which can also be mentioned. Vicious cycle of poverty and debt, ghetto living, hand to mouth economy, no savings attitude or investment attitude कि नहीं हमें नहीं करना हम आज में ही जिएंगे. So, physiological consequences, high birth rate, death rate, weak immunity, low body strength energy. So the various poverty alleviation schemes should shift from paternalistic attitude towards entrepreneur attitude to based on philosophy. Instead of giving them a fish, tell them how to fish. Yeah. Or you can also use a case study in this, which is the business blasters initiative by Delhi government, which specially focuses on the government school children's, which mostly belong to disadvantaged strata of society. So it's a very good initiative to encourage them to be their own owner or to start a business to increase their motivation pattern. So you can also cite this. This will also, you can say, plus one attribute of a good answer. So that's all for this question. Question 5C. Discuss the methods used by a psychoanalyst to bring unconscious motives into conscious. So they are simply asking the couch psychotherapy. Okay, what are the suggestions or what are the techniques used by psychotherapist which allows opening the doors of our unconscious. So here you can start with the goal of psychoanalysis, which is achieve insight into our unconscious motives, thoughts, which underlie a problem. Problem is there. Some mental disorder is there due to some some unconscious conflicts. So you can start with that, and after that, then you go to methods used by psychoanalyst. First is free association. So client use verbal reporting without any censorship, like he or she lied down on a couch and keeps on saying whatever she wants. So it automatically allows opening of the doors of your inner psyche, where you speak the real conflicts going on. Because you go to a kind of trance state where you tell that this is going, and after just saying it, you come to know even you don't know that. For example, client suddenly stops when he talks about relationship with his office colleagues, then that is a fishy area, which is a loaded topic, and that is encircled by the analyst. Here we need to intervene. So this is the example. You should write examples to bring clarity to your concepts. Then second is dream interpretation. As Freud said, dreams are the royal road to unconscious. You can mention this phrase here to strengthen your argument. So it expresses the impulses, fantasies, and wishes which are contained by the defenses put by the unconscious and conscious. So it has the symbols in the dreams help us to analyze the conflicts and the reasons behind them. Then the third is resistance and transference interpretation. Resistance is our unconscious blocking of therapy. Because we don't allow, because there is already a lot of unconscious investment in those disorders. So initially we put some resistance. And second, the transference, like with the course of psychotherapy, the patient involve the therapist into his or her past. You are also you are were in my past. So these two cases are the, you can say, issues in the psychotherapy which needs interpretation from the psychotherapist, and he or she interpreted in a manner by which the patient get benefited. So these are defenses and these are irrational reactions. Now one is hypnosis, to calm down, to lose down your defense mechanisms which are present in the conscious. These are four different Freudian slip, we can also say, can be interpreted by the psychoanalyst. So we conclude the advanced version of these therapies, which are, you can say, interpersonal therapy by Sullivan or other psychodynamic therapies, which focus on the present and which also focus on the psychosocial world. So the we conclusion is futuristic and or the advanced version of these therapies. Question 5D. Elaborate upon the strategies for inducing pro-environmental behavior. This is a good question and a repetitive theme in paper 2. So we should start why there's a need of this kind of behavior. Because of anthropogenic driven global warming and climate change, there is an existential crisis for the earth and the biodiversity on it. So it is required, it's the call of the hour. Pro environmental behavior is the call of the hour. Now jump to strategies. Here we can write down strategies. We all know, but we need the issues with it. We have to be psychologist centric and we should structure them in a better way to get good marks in this answer. So, on my own, I break down these strategies into two parts. One is top down, which are government initiated or society driven. For example, we should positively reinforce pro-environment behavior. For example, government of India awarded Padam Shri to Tulsi Gowda. So it's a very good initiative to award these personalities. Then social norm. We should convey injective norms, what behavior are approved or disapproved. This is a study by Reno et al. In 1993. You can have a look over it. Like here, psychology orientation is there. Then conveying descriptive norms. We should describe कि instead of standard appeal, be elaborative. Like 85% of employees uses bicycle for commutations. This kind of, like, income tax department is using it nowadays. They keep on SMSing you like by this date 80% of return filers have filed their return. Don't be in the rush hour. File your return now. So they're using it already. So Ministry of Environment can also use it. The third aspect is create competitiveness towards environmentalism, like in buying carbon credits or other such or implantation or plantation of solar plants or something like this, especially among the corporates. So if this competitiveness is there, there will be more encouragement in the pro-environment behavior. Now coming to individual aspects, individual focused. This is bottom approach. In this is competitive altruism theory by Barclay. It says that conspicuous donation towards pro environment change can create bandwagon effect कि यार एक नहीं किया फिर दूसरा भी करेगा फिर तीसरा भी करेगा. For example, like अनिल अंबानी has, और सॉरी मुकेश अनिल अंबानी जी के तो बस की बात नहीं डोनेशन करना आजकल. Mukesh Ambani has donated something. Then Wipro chief will also do. So this is a kind of bandwagon key. There's a competitive altruism between the rich. And on furtherance of the same concept, there's a costly signal in theory by graphene. And also the further citations are also in that. So it's environment altruism is there, which communicate कि बंदे में कैपेसिटी है यार sacrifice सहन करने की किसी अच्छे social welfare और environmental welfare के लिए इससे क्या होगा spill over effect like bandwagon here कि which motivates other to adopt the same pro environment behavior. And being human there's a place attachments like हमें अपनी जगह से प्यार होता है जहाँ के हम native होते हैं. That's why regional concept of regionalism is there. South, North India versus South India, or you can say Northeast region. Why? This is because of place attachment. So we have to take it to global level, like Rabindranath Tagore's concept of internationalism, cosmopolitanism. So these concepts should not be theoretical. We should develop the values of future generation on it. So we should work on that. And in conclusion, we can talk about the attitude change from anthropocentrism to ecocentrism for the conservation of Mother Earth. So it's a very good question, a dynamic question. You can use the your knowledge of GS, but in it's in small manner, but stick to psychology. See, in my answer, I always stick to psychology. Only then it will give you good marks than others. Now the last question in this video, question 5E. What do you understand by mood disorders? Discuss the causes. Easy one can be answered, but again, your presentation will allow you to get better marks than others. Can start with the definition. These are emotion-based disorders, include depression and mania. These are pervasive emotional disturbances. So here you can say tell the types. Unipolar, there's only depression, and bipolar. It has also two subtypes. Bipolar one, depression plus mania, and bipolar two, it's depression plus hypermania. And if you want to, it's optional because it's 10 markers. In 15 markers, you have to tell the symptoms: physical, psychological, motivational, behavior. But this is the key part. You can set demand of the question. You should tell. And again, you should break it. What are the cognitive explanation? Like one is Seligman's learned helplessness. For example, in COVID-19, we can't do anything. It is there. We lost our significant others. We lost our lifestyle. So there's a kind of anxiety and depressive tendencies also that we have to stay home. So you can write these real life examples also there. Depressed attribution styles by as suggested by Abramson. We always tell कि यार अब कुछ अच्छा नहीं होने वाला जो भी हो रहा है मेरी ही गलती है जो भी anything which is bad is because of me and good by others. So this is the negative attribution. And then Beck's cognitive triad is there. We have negative worldview, every the gloomy state of mind, everything is bad. Then we have a negative view for future. Then our negative view about our oneself. So this vicious cycle goes on, and the states like anhedonia, like हमें खुशी फील होनी बंद हो जाती है. So this वो stage आ जाती है. Then this is the main reason we can't live a good life because of these depressive tendencies. Now the social explanations are there. ब्रूस एंड किम का कहना कि strained marital जो relationships है उस वजह से भी डिप्रेशन बाइपोलर डिसऑर्डर्स या मूड डिसऑर्डर्स हो सकते हैं और सोशल सपोर्ट नहीं स्पेशली इन वेस्ट वेयर इंडिविजुअलिस्टिक कल्चर इज देयर जहाँ बहुत कम होता है तो इसलिए डिप्रेशन वहाँ ज़्यादा है और आजकल हमारी सोसाइटीज़ में भी बढ़ गया बिकॉज ऑफ दिस virtual life because we everybody stick to this gadget called as mobile phones which doesn't allow us to get ourselves engaged in meaningful explanations. So guys, especially UPSC aspirants who prepare a lot in the closed room, please engage in meaningful interactions. Because nowadays, especially COVID situation from last 2 years, I personally saw the situation of panic, frustration, anxiety in the UPSC aspirants. So please be in touch with your significant others, engage yourself in meaningful conversations. Third one is biological explanation. It is as told by Sullivan that 37% inherent vulnerability towards these mood disorders, and some altered neurotransmitters like serotonin low level also is responsible for mood disorders. And the sleep deprivation can also cause, for example, in the jobs like military or army, they have kind of emotional outburst because of their harsh situations where they work. You can conclude with the solution. What is the solution? Therapy, cognitive behavior therapy is there, interpersonal therapy is there, and also some government initiative you can mention, like a Kiran mental health care helpline by Government of India. People can reach out for the mental health care help. So this is question 5 and end of 10 markers of paper 2 and of paper 1 also. So what are the learnings for 10 markers? First thing I could say, this year straight, simple questions are there, doable in time, because time management is a big issue in psychology paper. Third one is structure them well, they get you good marks. I also found key number of diagrams here are less compared to last year's. Here only you can say 3 to 4 or at max questions have the tendency or you can say potential to have diagrams. You can draw, but that's you can say difficult to bring them to your conscious and draw them in the exam scenario. What is the fifth learning from these 10 markers of 2021? It's for the notes. It should be in answer writing format. What is that? Okay, this content can be used as introduction. Body should be structured in subtopics or headings, and we have a conclusion content also. You can use this. If you make your notes in this manner now, at least you can manage time there easily because you need not to think there what to write here and what to write there, and keep revising them in the same fashion. You will easily control your time management aspect. So these are the broad 4 to 5 learnings from these 10 markers. Hope you people enjoyed or liked the videos. Thank you.